Hello the channel. Welcome back everyone. I hope you're all well. Better than I was in the last couple of days. Good old man flu doing the rounds. Passed it on to the wife now as well, so she's not that happy with me in the moment, but that's what happens, goes through the old household. So anyways, we've got Celtic coming up, midweek Champions League, good fixture. We've got Real Madrid. Lots of good games on in the Champions League. First, a quick review of what happened this weekend. Then we can look at the Celtic lineup in the preview as well. Few sort of close calls. The Neon was a fun contest. Must admit, everyone's obviously quite enjoyed that, I think. So, Wusa Juru, clean sheet. Murillo was going really well. And then Southampton scored a few. Kevin De Bruyne, just glad he started, scored pretty well. Elanga got an assist and it got far, so that was really frustrating. And that lineup was destroyed by the MPs, etc. You'll see I've got quite a few teams here who are greyed out. I have actually sold a good few cards. I'll come back to that at the end of the video, just discussing Classic generally and the plans. Classic EPL, one that frustrated me a lot. It's going really well. Liverpool winning 2-0. Matoma needed to do well at Man United, and that played out the way I expected. I thought he would get a bit of space there as well. The reason it was really frustrating is I know you'd expect Man City to beat Ipswich, but I only had to avoid Phil Foden. 3 teams had Phil Foden, and I only had to avoid exactly like 3 decisives, and basically got 3 decisives then taken off. Even if we got 2 decisives, I'd have still won this competition. So I was frustrated at that, but there we go. That's life. This one was also quite frustrating. Real Madrid, Mbappe and Rodrigo hogging all the decisives. Bellingham had 3 BCMs. He scored, that got VAR'd as well, so it just wasn't to be. Sergio Gomez it turned out to be a bad pick as well. Played very badly. I thought against Valencia he would do a bit better, but really quite poor. So I've sold some actual pretty good cards now as well. Just pretty frustrated and fed up with Classic, if I'm honest, but we'll come back to that at the end of the video. Close to a good one here in Challenger as well. So this one ended up getting cancelled because I just decided I didn't really win in anything. I'm not really, well, this one's going up to D1. I don't have like a strong Challenger in season sort of cohort. And then from contender point of view, funnily enough, seem to be doing quite well in all Classic competitions this weekend after me discussing Classic. But yeah, second at the moment pending Opta, wee bit of Ethereum and a tier 1. So overall, 2 tier 1s coming, and I have actually picked my teams for this weekend as well. So once we've done the preview and the Celtic lineup, we can have a quick look at them. So not everybody quite likes to see those as well. So Real Madrid with the best fixture. I did think that in my head. I've picked my team, so you'll see when I come back to them, kind of had that in mind already. So that's really reassuring to see. 3.44 XG, 60% clean sheet percentage. Salzburg are really poor. Real Madrid do concede a lot as well though, so that's what it is from that point of view. But Vinicius Junior, I'll be back, so he's only suspended in Spain. Arsenal against Dynamo Zagreb. Again, good fixture for Arsenal. They've not really been firing a lot though. This will be a tricky one. I mean, when Dynamo Zagreb played against Celtic, they played very defensive. I'm not saying that Arsenal should be capable of opening them up, etc. But Arsenal have struggled a bit with scoring goals, so looks a really good fixture on paper, but might not always turn out that way. Got Atalanta against Sturm Graz. Sturm Graz are a decent team, to be honest. Atalanta been very impressed with overall this season. Celtic done a number on them, but they should have scored a few that night. They hit the bar and everything, so Celtic rode their luck a wee bit and defended well. Galatasaray there as well. Stuttgart with a prime fixture against Slovan Bratislava, the Southampton of the Champions League. 2.65 XG, 47% clean sheet percentage. If you've got any Stuttgart guys, I think Middlestat was on the bench at the weekend. Imagine guys like that will come back in. Can't remember if that's home or away. Bratislava are usually up for a bit more at home, and it's interesting with these teams who obviously are out and everything now, but there's nothing to lose. Well, Celtic against Young Boys, so 2.45 XG and 41% clean sheet percentage. Young Boys are bottom of the group as well, so come back to talking about Celtic lineup in a wee minute. Liverpool against Lille, 2.4 XG and 47% clean sheet percentage. Liverpool are top, so I don't know what they're going to do here. I mean, will they just go strong and just cement it and then rotate a bit for the next one? I guess they'll want to make sure they get a good seed and everything. I think they're guaranteed top 8 anyway because they've won every game. Bayern Munich away at Feyenoord. Feyenoord really poor this season, so you'd imagine Bayern might score a few goals there, but it's an intimidating atmosphere, so you never know. Manchester United at home against Rangers, two teams who have been struggling a lot, to be honest. Rangers do tend to quite like playing away from home, think counter-attack, out of possession. They're hard to break down sometimes, so that'll be a real interesting one. A lot of Rangers fans went down there as well. Hope they don't make as much of a mess of Manchester as they did when they were down there for the European Cup final or Europa Cup final. Leeds are playing Ajax against Riga. Pretty good fixture for them. Again, they might rotate a bit. That's the thing, calling the rotations. Inter Milan, not currently licensed. Nobody else really stand out. I guess Barcelona are always capable of scoring a few goals against anybody. And Burnley, 48% clean sheet percentage. James Trafford's been insane. Surely due to actually concede a goal at some point or have a bad performance. So anyway, Celtic lineup here on Predictify. So I think this is going to be an easier one. Famous last words. Me and my famous last words. This is the team that played against Kilmarnock in the Cup at the weekend as well. I put this team out as a draft before the Kilmarnock Cup game. And as you'll see from the comments and everything down here, I have said that this is what I believe to be Celtic's best 11. I think it is at the moment. So Kasper Schmeichel in goals. Trusty, it does look like scales has been dropped, if I'm honest. Trusty and CCV, I think, is going to be the partnership. There's no real need to be rotating people for this game. This is a must-win for Celtic to progress to the later stages. Looks like Alex Valley's going on loan to Como. So it looks like that's agreed, but the dynamic here is that if you sign somebody just now, you can't register them for this part of the Champions League. It's all part of the big group phase. So Greg Taylor will most certainly play. Alistair Johnson again, unless there's any injury news coming out. I think these are easier picks this week. Cal McGregor, Arnie Engels, really good in a lot of the home games. Hatate is first choice, played at the weekend. McCown does come in rotations and things. Then we've got Furuhashi, Nicholas Kuhn and Maeda. Again, Kuhn and Maeda played against Kilmarnock. Celtic played some really good free-flowing, attacking football, etc. And everybody looks fit now. I just don't really see Ida starting this one, if I'm honest. Celtic do play against Dundee at the weekend, and for that specific fixture, you might see a bit of rotation. So, anyways, let's have a quick look here and see who I've selected. See, I've went quite heavy on Real Madrid and my sort of Salzburg selection. I don't know why Mbappe's only at 50% there. That's a weird one. I'm going to move myself out of this game week 46 thing as well to a second. I know you all do want to see my face after me recovering from the man flu and everything. So, European champions, you see there's 30 lineups in. There'll be more than that by the time it goes through, but yeah, I've got two Celtic lineups in there. Celtic are playing the bottom of the whole Champions League group. They're 9th in Switzerland, which isn't really an overly strong league anyway. So, yeah, no real excuses for Celtic. This is where it gets interesting and rare. I've decided to mix it up a wee bit. I've gone with Alistair Johnson with Real Madrid just because Real Madrid don't really have many good defenders. They don't have a lot of like high AA defenders now. Rudiger could put in a good score against Salzburg or whatever, you don't know. Definitely possible, but you know, just mix up a wee bit there. I'll always find in La Liga, you see I played Sergio Gomez as well. Full Celtic lineup there as well. Greg Taylor pretty nailed now. Going with Vinicius in with Celtic. One of the reasons for that is you can't run Vinicius, Rodrigo and Mbappe in a lineup because they're all forward, so you've got to move one of them in there, if that makes sense, or in another lineup. And going similar with the Celtic Limited lineup again. I'm not saying I recommend it or whatever, it's just one of those. Champion Specialist, this is a bit more interesting. Obviously I'm throwing Griezmann in there because you can get a one classic card in there. We'll come back to classic again in a minute. Fran Garcia, I don't know, maybe Rudiger will come back in. Mendy will come back in, so I'll need to check the projections. Again, Brahim Diaz only down 20% here, a bit surprising. Quite like this Champion Specialist, you know, Arsenal defence. Furuhashi, just because you've got to have somebody under 50 as well. Engels, and also De Bruyne almost certainly going to start against PSG, well capable of the masterclass. Some of these are just chucked in, so not particularly worth looking at. But Agirabat should start for Fenerbahce with Livakovic obviously out. We've got European champion stuff and everything here as well. A lot of these are just chucked in. I don't think there's anything really particular that I'm sort of strong on. And I'm not really playing the under 23s again. It's kind of all much of a sort of muchness and everything there as well. So what's been happening? Well, I was having a think. Obviously, when you're like, off work and you've got the flu or whatever, you do get a lot of thinking time and everything, which can be a good and a bad thing. Sometimes really bad if you're spending too much time in Twitter or X or whatever as well. I've listed quite a lot of classic cards. What really hit home to me, obviously, is that like a lot of the times the classic cards I use are specifically playing in seasons. For example, I've got Berardi, I've got Barco, I've got Shaqiri. I don't ever play those guys in classic, generally speaking. I always get them into the cash comps because that's where most of the money is. I'm looking forward to MLS, so it's good to get a bit of money available, get on some early sort of European moves there. I've picked up Bamba, I've picked up Zaha. Almiron's still kind of discussed. Don't know if that's going to happen or not, so might have overpaid for him if he doesn't actually join. But these are in-season cards which, will be able to use all the MLS. I think the MLS cards will be quite expensive. As far as I can see just now, what Sorare are doing is they're getting as much of the European supply out as they can. And then you'll have the early access stuff soon, you would imagine, for like South Korea, J-League, which are both confirmed to come back. MLS own comp with, an inbuilt beat the target threshold and everything. So it's very much that's like the prime competition for the summer that Sorare are really looking at, which makes sense, I guess, with Messi there. They're making a lot of moves. World Cup's there next year. And really Sorare with having the American games like NBA and everything want to sort of crack the market in America. The one big disappointment, well, the two disappointments for me in the update were changing the sort of in-season rules with the last slot in Super Rare, and not much there for Classic at all. Yeah, we'll fix it in August. Well, I just don't believe that, to be honest. Like, I don't think it's really that fixable. I mean, the problem with Classic is there's so many cards. There'll be another season supply will be going into Classic next year. And sorry, I don't have a magic wand, right? They've minted all the cards already. They don't want to be saying, well, you can't use them anymore or whatever, but they've done so in a stealth way. Well, not a stealth way, it's right in your face. Like, if you want to play for the cash that we're handing out, then you're going to have to put your hand in your pocket and buy the in-season cards. So I do feel as if we're playing Sorare FIFA now. It's funny because 5 years ago when everybody signed up, it was like, this is a different site, it's like an NFT site, it's a crypto game, you got your cards, they're all quite scarce, everything's all quite hard to get, even to get Ethereum into the platform was quite hard and everything, there was no cash wallet, and it all felt as if it was all quite niche, whereas now, like, I'm selling cards and like, some of the rare cards are worth less than a tenner for good players. It's just a joke. Honestly, it's just a joke. There's just no value there. And people will say, well, why are you selling them for a tenner or whatever? Obviously, it'd be better just use them. I'm just getting fed up with it, to be honest. It's fed up just putting in teams and just hitting hide the team like on a Saturday. Like, I've even taken the notifications off SofaScore and everything now because I can't be bothered with it anymore. Like, okay, it's brilliant having 40, 50 teams in, having loads of chances for winning, but like actually looking through what I've won classic-wise, even having Liverpool cards, even having Verts, even having Musiala, whatever it is, just a complete joke. Now, obviously, it's quite top-ended and everything there as well. Sorare refused to pay out any decent cash or whatever there, which again is a bit of a joke. I think you've got this no-card entry thing where people can just turn up in certain countries and just asked to submit a lineup, and because of legalities, they're just given a lineup. Whereas all us mugs are putting our money in all the time, buying cards. Then we're getting told at the end of the season you can't use them anymore in anything that's that good. Just put them into Classic, yeah. We'll have an all-star, and there's 100 million people in, and if you come fourth, you don't win any cash, and it's just all that type of stuff. So I'm just growing tired of it, to be honest. I'm just going to move out of those I will end up having classic cards next season because all my Celtic stuff's all going to become classic. You obviously have a strong contender classic sort of cohort or whatever. I'm still playing on. I'm looking forward to the MLS and everything. I will still buy early access cards and everything, but I've just kind of had it with classic, And it is what it is. I mean, it's been like this obviously for a while, but just looking at some of the prices that were paid before, whatever, would make you a bit sick as well. But I just think there's just a general problem with it. It's just that it's just not exciting in any way. Everybody used to dream it was winning Mbappe and it was worth a good value and stuff like that. And, okay, it came second in D1 in contender, which is, I think, the best result in that division all season. And you just get like 60 quid or whatever for it. And the tier 1, like, who knows how much that'll be worth. Hopefully I get a decent one, but it's just not really actually that exciting, if that makes sense. So I'm sorry, I mean, I know that a lot of people never get podiums or they find it quite hard, or you're not in the sort of fortunate position that I'm in where I win quite a lot and I win a lot of cash and everything. But I get that also because I put a lot of money into the end season stuff and adapt and things as well. So I just don't find classic really that fun anymore. Even the fun part of it was building up the essence, and that was nerfed. Now we're moving to a more fixed system. Be interested to see how it works out because you're going to have back to the system where you don't get double rewards. So if you're playing in season, you get cash. You don't get a box as well. If you're playing in classic, then you either get a card reward or you get some essence. But see, to be honest, see like tier 4s and 5s and stuff, you'd be better just chucking them away anyway. I mean, most of them are just useless. I think I'd rather actually have a bit of essence and be able to save it up than somebody giving me a tier 5 or whatever. So there'll be wee tweaks and everything to that. I do really like the changes to Super Rare. Not the mid-season changes and pissing off the existing user base, because that's a problem. We've still got a sentiment problem, right? There's a lot of people who don't want to spend their money on the platforms. Every time they do so, Sorare change the rules. And yeah, I mean, I hear that all the time. I'm not putting any money into this because every time I do that, I just get shafted. So, it is what it is. I'm going to play the MLS stuff and everything over the summer. I'm going to be a wee bit more active, I think, in Super Rare because I've been very focused just on Celtic. Missed the boat a bit for Europe, and budget-wise, it's hard to compete with the really huge budgets, Pranksy and the guys who are spending like 100,000 and everything. Like, I'm not going to be in that region, but I think pound for pound, I'm able to get a good return and a good ROI, and be doing more stuff like fixture analysis or stats analysis, or just try to find good value in the in-season stuff, etc. as well. So there we go. I've got lots of good classic cards up for sale. I've even got Versus shirt number and everything up for sale, which I've listed well above the floor of recent sales, but it's a pretty specific, really nice item. Shirt number, forward card, paid more for it, but I bought it myself, so I won't be selling that one cheap, and it just is what it is. I might keep the Liverpool stuff. I don't know. I was kind of flippantly saying, well, I think I'm just going to get rid of this Liverpool stuff. Still quite tempted, but they're playing Ipswich at the weekend, and also Trent goes to Real Madrid. I quite like having that classic Trent card there as well to slot in with Courtois and Bellingham, etc. That could be a strong champion classic lineup next year. Should probably just sell them, but and just pay the extra for the end seasons because that's where the cash is, right? But I might end up doing that. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it all pans out, what we can win from this season. So that's my thoughts on it. Maybe it's the wrong move, maybe it's the right move. I don't know. Maybe I should have more patience with it. I've always been really patient on the platform, but I just think just to have no improvements for Classic in this round of updates was the biggest disappointment, really, of the update. Everything all has to be done to suit Sorare, and I get that, but I was sitting just looking at Classic or whatever, and so we shouldn't even be discussing Classic in the first place. So anyway, that's where we are. Shouldn't really be a term, but it is, and it's like everything is set up against the secondary market. Even the word secondary in itself, secondary, it is, everything is secondary to in-season. My whole strategy when I'm playing cards, even as I said earlier, my Berardis or my Cecina Super Rare, my first thought is, kind of get that into the in-season, if that's a good option, and play for the best sort of cash prizes, etc. And Sorare have created that dynamic because they want to sell the cards. On the super rare changes, I think actually it's much better. A lot of people think it's much worse. I think what you find is people who think it's much worse really want to play super rare on a really limited budget. I don't want to sound like a dick or anything at this point, but it's not a scarcity that you can play at the top end on a really strict budget. Like, people move into super rare because obviously there are more scarce cards, and if you get a good strategy together, then it's effective because there's not as many options to play against. But the thing with the 3 and the 2 is that 40% of the in-season lineups were coming from Classic, and I can see why Sorare have closed that down. What they want is, they want you to want to buy my Celtic cards. They want you to want to buy a Rangers stack to play against me. They want you to buy a Heart stack. They don't want you to buy Barco playing in Russia, Berardi playing in Serie B, Joe Bloggs transferring to China from Sturm Graz, Sanpri, can't remember what's his name, a bottom, I should know his name. Zakaria, whatever, I can't remember what his name is. They don't want you to buy those cards. They don't have licenses for those leagues. They don't. They want the contests to be specific to the in-season. That's why they're handing out the cash, and they want it to be, as far as I can see, more of a high roller arena. So if you want to come into super rare and you've got a budget of 300 quid and you want to do it on the cheap or whatever, Sorare are not really interested in that, and that's I can kind of see that, and I do understand that if people have been playing throughout the season and they've got that strategy and they've got their 2 classics and maybe they've spent a bit on the in-seasons so that they can enter. Like, I do totally get why that's frustrating or might seem wrong or whatever, but you know, if you're in that scarcity and you can't afford to add one option to get into that competition, then you're playing too high. I think that's the bottom line. You're just playing too high. So a lot of the stuff I'm generating the money and everything I've got just now, like play a bit of the MLS, the K-League and J-League's confirmed is coming back. I do always play about there as well. I've got Cezinha, I bought Joe Yunwu and everything recently, so I was intending on doing that even before the update. I don't know if I'll get involved in super rare MLS. I would quite like to, but I suspect that they'll be quite expensive. Who knows what Messi will go for. That's going to be quite interesting as well. I would imagine it's going to be 4 figures anyway, if not multiple 4 figures. Clear best player in the league and everything. So there we go. That's my thoughts on it. Sorry, I do apologise if sometimes I'm coming across if I'm maybe venting a wee bit, or some people say obviously it's negativity or whatever, but yeah. If every time you're looking at your sort of overall gallery, because everybody says, oh, you've got a brilliant gallery and everything, but the value of it gets destroyed by every update. So I'm just going to try and focus on doing what I enjoy. If I'm playing Classic and I'm not enjoying it, and I don't want to see the notifications, and I don't want to beat 10,000 people to come forth to win some tier 3 rare that's worth a value of 2 Freddos, I'm just not going to do it, and that's it. So there we go. On that note, we're going to move on. I hope you all found that useful. Hopefully you're interested in me explaining why I'm doing things. I'm not leaving the platform or anything. I'm not. It's just a strategy change, and also an enjoyment factor as well. I do like winning good cards and having the opening and all that type of stuff, but at the end of the day, the best prizes are in season, and naturally everybody's going to try and take on that challenge and win the cash. Anyways, on that note, I wish you all good luck midweek. I hope you don't get any of this bad flu or COVID or viruses or any of these things which are floating about, and we end in the customary fashion. Good luck. Go for it.